Hello, hello, all those beautiful faces. I hope this Saturday night finds you well. I'm Stephanie Edmonds. This is Teaching Liberty live on Saturday, and I'm here tonight with Kozi. Welcome, welcome. And as you come in, of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, right? We're trying to get to up those subscribers. I'm trying to hit 1,000. I'm almost at 800. So we're getting there. We're getting there, getting that momentum back. I'm getting my consistency back. When I was consistent, I was doing good. So make sure you like, subscribe. We're keeping those videos coming. And Cozy, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Good, good. How we doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining me. This is like a real treat, actually, this week. I didn't even realize when I had asked you to join me tonight that we're coming off of our lawsuit that was in the courts on Thursday. And so I saw you there, and now we're here tonight. We're going to be talking about that. It's going to be our second story. But before we get into things, I always like for my guest host to kind of introduce themselves, give your little elevator pitch and also give us a little bit of your bias. Like, what is the political background and kind of worldview you're bringing to the table? And, do it all in like 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, well, my name is Kozi, and I'm a health freedom activist, former healthcare worker. Was fired for refusing the Sharona vaccine. I don't know if you're going to get censored, so I'm just saying that Sharona vaccine. Um, on
That's
religious.
okay. We don't mind. You can say it here.
Okay.
Like maybe we get censored, maybe we don't. But I mean, it's a big topic that we're talking about tonight. And, this is
Fine.
for informational purposes. If the censors come at us, so be it.
So, healthcare worker, working almost 14 years, 13, 14 years, nursing home. And besides that, health freedom activist since 2009. Basically, that's when I really started like talking about it and pushing back. So that's where I
Was
come
there a
from.
specific event, if you can say it real quick?
Yeah, yeah, they were trying to push the H1N1 shot on
Mm.
healthcare workers. That as soon as I like got into the whole thing, and I was like, wait a minute, I've never gotten a flu shot, and like, I just instinctually like pushed back because I don't like people telling me what to do. It's just instinctually like somebody tells me like you must do this or we're going to mandate this. I automatically like alarms start ringing, and I'm like, why? I never get sick. I'm pretty healthy. I'm not scared of the flu. And what is this thing? And that's like what really opened up my mind is like that's what made me research because I never thought about vaccines. Like until somebody said I'm going to mandate this, I'm like, all right, let me see what's in this thing. Why do you want me to take it? I know you don't love me. Like, what's the reason you really want me to get this? You know what I mean? You're not my mama. Look, you don't have my well-being in your heart. You know what I mean? I'm very suspicious of people when they're trying to like look out for my best interest, especially when it comes from an establishment or, you know,
Okay. So
medical system. You
early on, you got into it. How did that inform kind of your political participation?
Well, you know,
Or
I,
not, or lack thereof, I don't know, whatever.
well, I really came from a place of like, I guess, a political atheist, right? Like, I really didn't like the left and right. I was always against that. I was a big Ron Paul supporter. So libertarian,
Oh, okay,
where I come from. So
okay.
automatically,
Well,
that,
we're not too far off then.
yeah,
I
like,
always used to hang out with the libertarian guys because, like, I didn't know where else to be. I'm like, I'm not really a Republican, I'm not really a Democrat. I don't know. There's those nerdy guys over there talking about Ron Paul.
yeah. So like, he was the only politician that like resonated with me. Like, he made sense. Like everything, like everything he was saying was like, wow, he's right. He's right. I started reading his books, and like, I really got into that. So that's my background of like when you talk about politics. Then there's so much to talk about. So I don't know where you want to go with this, but
Oh,
basically,
yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good, overview. You got into medical freedom kind of at the same time you're kind of thinking about how am I gonna use my vote politically and what do these things all mean, young adulthood, and I feel like you've been outside of the political system, kind of unaffiliated, maybe libertarianish, maybe vote Democrat sometimes, maybe vote Republican sometimes.
yeah, no, I haven't voted Democrat, but like around when Obama came in,
I mean,
basically.
every once in a while though, it's like 2 Democrats and you like gotta choose the like better
Yeah,
worst
I've
one.
done it in the primaries just because, like the ones in my district were actually cool. They wanted to protect religious freedom, like in terms
Okay.
of shots, so I supported them.
But yeah,
Uh,
I got you. I got you.
a lot of
So,
white people would do it.
why don't we just jump into the first story of the night,
Hmm.
which talking about not quite mandating shots. They're not going that far with this, but the CDC has added the COVID-19 vaccinations to the immunization schedules for children and for adults, actually.
Hmm.
I had been hearing a lot about the children part, but yay for adults too, It's not just for the children. The
Yeah.
guidance formalizes current recommendations, does not mandate the vaccine. So I guess when they say formalizes, does that mean it moves from emergency use now it's totally authorized?
So
Or
this is what I understand, right? So right now, like they put on the children's schedule, right? Which that means is basically they're giving the okay,
I
giving like
just read the article, guys. Sorry about that.
they're giving the head nod basically, and saying, you know what, we approve of this, like allowing the states now to like it's opening the doors for the states to mandate now, right?
Okay,
Places
yeah,
like
this is
New
what
York.
it says. It says the CDC added it to the schedule. Da 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 da. These updates reflect current agency recommendations, and it formalizes the guidance for healthcare providers and schools. So I think that formalized must mean it moves it from emergency use to like, okay, now this is the standard. It does not mandate vaccines. States and localities determine which vaccines are required for students to have for school. So that's what you were saying right here is like, okay, the CDC puts it and now it kicks it down to the state. They do say that all 50 states have medical exemptions, and some states have non medical vaccinations for religious or philosophical reasons. Not New York, not Connecticut.
So there's a problem here, right? Like there's a lot of things that like there's a lot of bull here. So one is like, oh, like now it moves it from emergency use, which is not true because we don't have the approved COVID shot in this country, Corminity or however you call it. I think it's Corminity
Yeah,
or
other ones like yeah, like bivalent. I wonder if this is like, is this like all COVID vaccinations? Is this the original COVID vaccination? Is this the bivalent? It's kind of unclear from this. I guess we could go to maybe the source and maybe they're more specific.
yeah. The point is here, right? The facts are that right now any state can start mandating if it goes through legislation. That's how it's going to go. So if our assembly and our Senate push this thing, right? Dinowitz in New York has a bill ready to go. So if he gets co-sponsors and he gets this ball rolling, we could see a COVID vaccine mandate for the kids within a few months. Okay, so this is very important right now. The alarm should be raised at ultimate high right now. Everybody needs to contact their representatives. You better know who your representatives are. If not, reach out to us. We'll show you where to go. You need to get on the phone with them, demand a meeting. Basically, I need to talk to you. This is
In
unacceptable.
district, yeah, you can meet them in district.
We want to know what science you used to approve this, to recommend this. I want to know. I want to know what you looked at that I'm not looking at, because all I'm seeing is risk and no benefit for these children. Okay, so somebody's not doing their job.
Right, and I do think that sometimes people feel like, "Oh, there's no point, they don't represent us," but I think that actually we don't seek them out to represent us, right?
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you called or emailed your rep? Maybe the couple people out here are like, they're super hardcore people that have been doing it forever, the mom who writes the letter for everything,
Mm-hmm.
but be honest, most people don't even maybe know who their rep is or their senator is at the state level. We're talking at the state level. We're not talking like the people who go to Congress. That's how they've gotten us is like federalizing our politics. But I've been making an effort to get out there and learn the state process. I was on a Zoom call the other night where they went through how to look up bills, what the different notations mean, how to use the website, what the actual process is for a bill to move from somebody putting it on the floor, to committee, to getting voted out of committee, to going out, having a public hearing. Like, there's a long process and there's a lot of different points at which we can get involved. And guess what? If you're not getting involved, I mean, either way, big pharma is definitely getting involved. Michael Caine told me they are the biggest lobby, bigger than big oil.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought this up, right? Because it's important. I want to bring some history into this, and also to kind of say something, because people think, oh, that it's pointless. It's pointless. It's not pointless. We have to at least do the basics. These are the fundamentals. We start with the fundamentals. Okay. So yes, you're supposed to reach your representatives. You need to meet with them, tell them your concerns, email them, get it on paper, give a paper trail of what you're asking for. Because look, in New York, when the religious rights were taken away, right, people got disheartened, and I understand that. But we have to remember that we almost defeated them. We got 14 Democrats basically to agree with us and to say, and that was done through hard work. We went in there, we kept meeting with them, several meetings. We were able to convince them and gain their sympathy and be like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to stand by them. They had to cheat last minute. They had to cheat and strong arm people to get this done. Okay, so that cheating, just the fact that they had to get to that point showed that we did a lot of work, and it was emotional. We all like broke down. Basically, we were crying, literally crying, because we saw the cheating happen. We were supposed to win that, but New Jersey, the following year, they won. So that's to show that. And I believe New Jersey won because New York lost, right? That I really believe that. It's because we lost. They're like, you know what? Let's up our game, and they went all out. And a lot of us went over there and helped them. But to show that New Jersey won shows that it can happen. It is possible. Okay, but we need to put the pressure on. I know people don't want to use up all that energy, but we must. We must try everything and exhaust every ounce of our energy and ability to influence this. We have to.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, we should have plan B, plan C, plan D ready.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. You know, you have to fight on a lot of battlegrounds. I think that it's very interesting how religious liberties, they have a very good kind of organizations out there that are always on the front line fighting those cases. And I think that we need to make sure that we're doing that on other fronts, non-religious fronts. I was very disappointed in the city that nobody brought an equal protections lawsuit when they did the sports players, but the rest of the workers were still mandated, right? If you're
Absolutely, yeah.
an actor, an actress, or uh, 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 some type of celebrity, no vaccine mandate. But if you're a regular person,
Mm-hmm.
vaccine mandate for you. So I was pretty disappointed that nobody brought one of those lawsuits. And I think that an interesting consequence, and now the New York Post here is going to be framing this as a negative thing. And you can see it as a negative thing or a positive thing, but routine childhood vaccinations have been collapsing. So I think that this is probably as a result a lot of lockdowns, like people for how long didn't go to the doctor for almost a year. So a lot of kids probably just miss them like that and haven't been able to catch up. But this is what they say. Chalk it up to yet another deadly disaster to the authoritarian bungling of public health experts. City Health Department data shows that rates for standard childhood vaccinations have plummeted. So, as they continue to push, oh, it has to be on the schedule. Oh, we might mandate it. People lose trust
Mm-hmm.
in the system, right? My son, he has all his, got all his childhood vaccines because I didn't really ever think to question it, to be honest. I questioned a lot of things, but I didn't really question that. We spread them out. We didn't do them all, in the way that they have them all listed out there. But I didn't really think to question it until now. So I think that this is a very interesting revelation, whether you see it as a good thing or a bad thing. So it says that in the first 3 months of 2023, there was a drop in routine pediatric vaccination levels from 64.5% a year ago to a little under 60%, which is a 5-point drop.
I'm
So,
laughing because I
yeah.
love it's music to my ears.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not 100% either way, you know, like, I'll sometimes joke and be like, "Oh, I'm a full-blown anti-vaxxer now," but, like, that's a joke. I'm not actually. I'm not in the position right now where I have to think about getting any of the routine childhood
Hmm.
vaccines, which actually I brought up. I wanted to show this. I did get the vaccine schedule. So you can see here it has all the different ones. So this one talks about the COVID-19. So it's been added with columns for 6 months to 18 months, highlighted in yellow to indicate the recommendation. Da, da, da. So I guess they're saying like even 6 months should take it.
Yeah, these people should be fired
Over
immediately.
the
Like,
overlying text 2 or 3 dose summary, series, and booster has also been added. Oh, you could get 2, 3, and all these boosters for the young kids. Oh my gosh.
I want to get these people fired ASAP. That's what I want to look into. How do we fire these people for even recommending this?
This
Because they're endangering children right now.
right.
This angers me. Absolutely reckless.
So this is pneumococcal pneumonia conjunct
Ugh.
row. We have another COVID-19 row. So I don't know what the difference is between
Wow.
table 1, 2, and 3. This one says a new row was added to summarize COVID-19 vaccinations by medical conditions. All right, so it's not. This is just like an additional information that's added for
Hmm.
people with different categories. All right, here's a new section that was added providing details on the use of COVID-19 vaccines. Routine vaccination section describes the recommendations for the primary series in the general population, and special situations section describes the recommendations for the primary series in persons who are moderately or severely immunocompromised. For booster dose vaccination in all populations and guidance for the J&J COVID vaccine recipients, hyperlinks are included. So we would have to like go to the part here and we could see the specific things that they're saying for them. I don't know where it is right now. But anyways, so you can go here to the CDC's website and look into it more. I think it's really interesting. Like I said, I'm not really in the position at the moment where I have to think about my son or myself getting any of these. So I haven't done the due diligence to go back.
Mhm.
However, I have a lot of questions. A lot
Okay.
of
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have questions, please let me know. I could send you any information you would
yeah,
like.
no, for sure. I think it could be interesting. I know that, lover or hater Candace Owens put out a documentary I heard good things about. So I think that would be interesting to check out.
Okay.
Um, and let's see. And then again, speaking of all of these questions and fighting on many fronts, this week we had our I don't know, are you officially were you a c you worked at a city hospital? Are you a city worker?
No,
You
not
just
a city worker. Oh, I worked for a non-for-profit nursing home, which was majorly funded by Medicaid, um,
okay.
or Medicare.
I also think now, agree or disagree, like, I know a lot of libertarians or even constitutional purists don't really like the part of the Civil Rights Act where it mandates private businesses to, recognize people's religions or not discriminate against them. The public accommodations part, they
Mhm,
don't really like that because
mhm.
they don't think private businesses should be told what to do by the government, even if they're a protected class.
Uh-huh.
However, given that we do have that rule and the way that the way that the religious exemptions are, I do feel like our case should also be impact for the healthcare workers that were denied based on religious exemptions. Though you guys do have your own case.
Yeah, we won our case, yet they're still refusing to hire us. We absolutely won it. There's no appeal. Hochul, as far as I know, as of today, uh, she had filed for she's like she wants to file for an appeal, like she's filing for it, but the case hasn't been appealed. Okay. So my place, for
Told the
instance,
court, like, hey, we might appeal. Like, just wait, we're deciding.
well, they're gonna do it, right? But like when I contacted my nursing home, send them a letter saying, hey, I want my job back, I want back pay, I want this and that. As you know, this lawsuit was won and blah blah blah. They're like, we're not hiring unvaccinated workers. I'm like, well, you're in contempt of court, lady. I didn't say that, but you know what I mean. I kind of told them like this, and as of right now, it is illegal not to hire me back. Anyway, you get the point. The point is like, they're not with it right now.
So I'm going to have a video coming out tomorrow. So if you're on here right now and you haven't subscribed to my channel, you just happen to come by here, make sure that you subscribe because I'm going to be releasing a video all about our lawsuit, how everything went down at the court on February 8th. We had a prayer vigil outside, and then some of the like really super strong arguments from our super legendary, amazing lawyer John Birch from Alliance Defending Freedom. No, ADF, Alliance Defending Freedom. And then of course, Michael Caine. And you were in some shots there. You'll definitely see yourself in there, Kozi. So I'm gonna have all the background on that, but we were in court in front of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. There was a three-judge panel, and it was really the first time that our claim, and it's not even like the full claim, it's like still about the injunction where we want to be put into our jobs while the case is being litigated. And it's a little bit ridiculous at this point that we're 14 and a half months later and we're still talking about like that, what was it, October 4th, 2021, when we wanted to be like able to stay in our jobs until the case was litigated. It's so weird how the law works. Anyways, it was the first time though that any judge had heard all the different parts of our case. Since then it had been like, oh, this little thing we're talking about, or this little point we're talking about, or this little, like again, the court system is so weird how it works. So we got in front of the judges, we got to have our whole case. Do you want to add any context here before we get into this article with the crazy big revelation that came out?
Well, yeah, like we had an amazing week, by the way. This is like full of things happening one after the other. So this was a very exhausting and exciting week for us. I mean, I feel amazing right now, but I don't know which article you're about to get into, but because I don't know
the big thing that was revealed in the case. But before I do that, I do just want to say one thing too. I was like getting ready for this show and I was like, dang, kind of like the point of the show is I wanted to like cover big news stories and branch out a little bit, but then I'm like, no, this is what's happening right now. We are having kind of that reckoning, perhaps not to the extent and with the veracity that one might contemplate or idealize in their brain, but we are having something where a lot of information is coming out that everything the past 2.5, 3 years was not what it was made out to be. So I do think that I'm not just covering these stories because I care about it and I'm a conspiracy theorist or whatever it is, that these are actually big news stories. This is a big news story. And during the trial or during the hearing, it's not a trial, during the hearing, it came out that employees who were fired for refusing the COVID vaccine were labeled with problem codes. So New York City employees, if they were fired, they got a problem code in their file that were sent to the FBI, the legal group says. And now I don't know if they were automatically sent to the FBI or if it was like attached to your fingerprints. And then if you tried to apply to another employer and they pulled your fingerprints, then it would like flag to the FBI. But maybe it flags right away. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Problem codes are put into your file when usually there's criminal activity involved, right? If there's sexual harassment or some kind of pervert, or you stole something or something happened, which is a criminal act, it will, they will associate that with your fingerprints, right, with your file, and it will get sent to the FBI. Now, the question is, did they automatically do this? Like it's just a setup of the system, or did somebody specifically send these people, like, this file of this teacher is going to the FBI? Whatever the case may be, This is very alarming. I'm very upset about this. This needs to be stopped immediately. People need to be sued for this because you're destroying people's lives. You're basically calling teachers terrorists. Somebody who's refusing a medical intervention, you are now calling them
terrorists. It reminded me of that incident where I believe it was parents were called terrorists or given warnings to the FBI for speaking out at their school board meetings, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the article kind of just repeats that over and over again about these problem codes. So to the contrary, just wants to learn whether okay, so this is a little bit more about these problem codes, so let's read about that. So it says another document filed by an attorney with knowledge of the case argued that the DOE's claim that problems code can only be used by the department are untrue. It says, to the contrary, any DOE school or official that wants to learn whether a former DOE employee has a problem code in his or her personnel file can easily do so in a variety of ways, the attorney wrote. For example, non-DOE schools which offer DOE-funded positions have access to DOE payment portal, Galaxy, which allows them to see problems codes. Indeed, plaintiff present evidence of at least 15 former DOE employees who were not hired at DOE schools because the non-DOE schools discovered their problem code. Wow. So they must have, do certain discovery or inquiry or other things that most of us aren't even aware of, because I didn't realize that this was going on. When I found out about this, I was like, what?
Yeah, I heard it in the oral arguments, and I was like, wait, did I just hear correctly? I was like, wow, I had goosebumps when I heard that. I was like, damn, did I really hear right? I had to rewind that tape and hear it again. I was like, yep, that's what I heard. I'm like, wow. I mean, there's so much to talk about here. Like, I want to, I don't know if I should rewind right now, but let's continue with the story unless you want to.
Well, what I was going to say actually was that people should really go check out my video. So if you're here live, it's going to be out first thing tomorrow morning. Awesome. If you're watching the replay, it's already out. Go to my channel, watch my video. It's called The People versus Eric Adams, Mayor Adams. And it summarizes the day, these big arguments, these big revelations. I play the really spicy clips from the hearings, both on, we talked a lot today about what our side said, but also a lot of what the DOE side said. And I think that you can see that she's not nearly as strong, I don't think, as of an arguer as our John Birch was. So go check out that video. And also, I'll do a little plug here because I know Children Health Defense had the live stream. So if you want to go check out the live stream, they capture a lot of the cool stories. People told their stories who were sitting outside and waiting while the trial was going on. So you can go check out Children Health Defense. It's called Crowd Praise Wall versus Slays. That's a hilarious title, actually.
Yeah, I wrote that article for them. Like that's
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say. I know, Kozi, you were the one who was the host, so you actually wrote that title. So it looks like you have a real future as an editor.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just trying to be funny, you know.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. So go check that out at Children Health Defense if you want the full live stream with Kozi interviewing different people about their story and why they're there.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I just want to think about, okay, so this FBI piece, right? It kind of like if you put all these pieces together, and I'm not saying like there's a connection, but like we're gonna just plot the dots and we'll see if they connect, right? Now, the quarantine camp situation, okay, where Governor Hochul wants to appeal this thing. It's like, why does she want to keep appealing this thing? Why does she want to get around the law? Like, she's so thirsty for this. It's unbelievable. Like, she went past the legislation, like just overrode them because nobody wanted to touch this thing. Like, really thirsty for this. Why? Now you're starting to see a picture where, okay, teachers are labeled, terrorists basically by sending their files to the FBI. Now we have quarantine camps coming down the pipe. If we don't stop this, there's a lot of stuff to think about here, right?
I really think that it's like as simple as money. The other day we saw was it the Grammys? Is that the one it was?
The
The
music
one where
award.
they sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that one. I didn't watch it obviously. But everybody was talking about it because they had like some devil thing and devil imagery and whatever, I don't know. I just feel like musicians have always done that. Like all the like to try to be edgy. And I think it is just about like programming and making you get all crazy. Like I think everybody reacting the way they did is actually what they want. Even though if you're not saying like
Well,
whatever.
they listen. They believe in like doing rituals, right? And these rituals have
Maybe, maybe, or maybe they just want everybody to talk about it on social media so they can code it into
absolutely.
their AI.
It's both. That's why they're presenting it to you. But these symbols that they do, and these like structures and the things they do is meant
I
to,
know, I know, I know. I'm just not
but
I'm
you're right.
not it's not that it's like I'm not it's just for me like I don't think that we even need to talk about it. I think there's enough things that are like concrete and within like a more reasonable field of discussion that we can have like like I want to talk to my dad. Like my dad I just think my dad is like a really kind of like oh, he's probably like a little bit nerdy like above like, average with his smarts and stuff. But just in terms of, like, where he is with the mainstream. Like, he would never talk about that. He would never, ever even entertain that conversation,
And I
you
understand
know?
why,
Yes,
like
I'm just not it's like, I wanna have the so that actually brings me into this next thing because I think there is space for those conversations. I personally am down for those conversations, right?
mhm.
Like, I'll have those conversations all the time. But I think that what we need more of is to, like, create culture within kind of, like, this a reasonable span, like, and we don't need to be, like, way out here,
Yeah,
like, let's
like
let's
yeah, of
focus
course.
on,
Like
like, the
I,
culture and the science and the conversation, like, we can expand it out, I think we're a little narrow right now, what is that called? The
no vision.
no, like, the area that you're acceptable thought
You're with.
and speech.
I don't know if you're. Yeah, I'm not.
I'll come up with it and I'll DM you and I'll be like, "This is the thing that I described horribly on the live stream."
Listen, I think I mean, I understand what you're saying. Basically, there's no reason to focus on that when we have things that we can prove and things we can actually fight and win over our arguments, right? These are facts. The fact is,
Exactly.
COVID vaccine is dangerous and it got approved. That's a fact. And we need to get this science into the people's brains and put it out there and get legal teams on this and see how we can remove these people from their panels. That's a fact, right? That's irrefutable. So these are the things we can focus on and win, correct?
Exactly. And so that's why I wanna talk about the Norfolk Group. So, the Norfolk Group is this group of doctors right here. So, we have the Jay Bhattacharya. Come on, we couldn't get the guy a better picture. Come on, Jay. Didn't I take a better picture?
It's okay. They could look it up.
Yeah, Leslie Beenan. She's, also, I believe, another, doctor out there in California. Ram Duracetti, he's out there in the Bay Area. Tracy Hogue, she's out there in the Bay Area. A lot of these I'm telling you, Bay Area, man, coming in hard, coming in
Nice.
strong. Marty Macri, he's out here on the East Coast. Martin Kulldorff, I believe he's actually in Connecticut. Um, and then Marjorie Smelkinson and Steve Templeton. So, these are a lot of the big names that we heard over and over again consistently speaking out, particularly Jay Bhattacharya and Martin Kulldorff early on, Marty Macri early on, and then Tracy really coming in with the open schools and the really good data about vaccinations for young males. So they're coming in, and the goal of this, go to their homepage, is just really talking about how the pandemic failed on all these levels, taking account of the mistakes that were made, and this way they can be used to inform for the future. So it's really trying to take account of how things went and how to do them better. So this is what we need. We need the Norfolk Group. but we need it for like each category, right? They're doing the science. We need it for culture. We need it for, I don't know, all the different types of things that there are out there in the world.
Yeah, and like for me, like I just want to like there's two parts of me, right? There's one that like yeah, we want to win the scientific argument, but we've been through so much already that I feel like, you know what? I don't care what your science says. I just want the choice to leave me the hell alone. That's it. I
Yeah,
don't You can argue till you turn blue in the face. I don't care whether you believe in leprechauns or you believe in whatever you believe in.
right.
Don't care. Leave me alone. And I
I
want
think you need it all, right? I think culture wins the day. Culture wins the day, right? You need the music, right? Should we play a cozy song? We'll do a little cozy song. I'll pull it up on YouTube, right? But culture wins the day. We need
correct.
to change the culture. We need to have all the kind of different categories, from the fun stuff that the kids watch to the dramas to the documentaries to the talking heads on TV to the reality TV shows.
Mhm.
We need to have it all across all the different categories. Culture wins the day.
Listen, you
I
hit
think
it.
that we
You
need
hit that
the
on the
science out there, though. It's not that we can't just like leave a void of only their science. Like, we need our scientists out there, like at least doing the good data, even if that isn't going to win the hearts and minds. We still need it.
absolutely, because we need to argue, right? But at the end of the day, I just I don't care. I don't care
I
anymore.
I, I feel you. I feel you.
Just leave us alone.
Me too.
You know,
I'm
the founders
definitely.
wanted for us. That's what the founders wanted, you know?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I always think, what's the difference between what I'm asking for the government, or I'm lobbying the government to do, and what these other groups are out there? Like, when we were up at the Capitol in Albany, there was a bunch of groups up there, you
Hmm.
know? And the other big group was the one that was asking for housing, fair housing for
Hmm.
all or something.
Yeah.
And essentially what they're asking for is the government to give them housing or some housing benefits, or to give them something,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And what we're asking for the government to do is leave us alone. And I
Yeah.
think that that's kind of the basis for evaluating, do you have a legitimate grievance or claim with the government? Right? Are you asking the government to give you something, basically use taxpayers' money, take other people's money and use it to give to you? Or
Oh,
you
that's not right.
government, you're doing a little bit too much here, and by a little bit, I mean, like, a lot too much, but we'll just talk about this little thing right here. Stop doing this thing, right? Just stop using taxpayer resources to bother me. And so I really think that's kind of like the principle for evaluating, like, whether the thing that you're lobbying the government to do is what I would say is legitimate or reasonable or constitutionally based, and not, and an extension of rights beyond what they were ever meant to mean.
Correct. And the more you ask, the bigger hole we get into. And it's like, and you set yourself up for tyranny. Because if somebody can like listen, you're not owed housing. I'm sorry, it sounds cruel, but like, you know what? You don't have a right to housing. The government That's not the government's role to give you housing. It sounds like extreme to some people, but it's like, no, that's not a right. A right is freedom of religion, freedom of
Right.
expression. They
And I
destroyed.
mean, I think that a perfect example is in California, and really in a lot of the cities across the United States, but particularly in California, the thing that is causing the homelessness and the housing crisis is actually what government did. Government made it impossible to build. They put up so many restrictions and so many this and so many that. They made it, people don't want to build, and they're not allowed to build. So that's why there's a housing crisis, is not because people are evil or greedy, or because the market somehow failed. It's because the government interfered with the market. And I think that that's again another principle that you can kind of find over and over again, is it's not the people that mess things up. It's like every time the government comes in, if you look at maybe the immediate thing that the government does, like sometimes they get that first thing right, but that's only because they've taken resources from somebody else and given it to that person. So that means that that other person who is doing things right, or maybe they weren't, tax the poor, now doesn't have that money to do the things. And we don't really account for all those secondary actions. However, I digress. because I wanted to play. You were speaking of tyranny. I heard that there's this song called City of Tyranny by this guy called Kozi-19. In the house. Let's go. All right, I'm letting the ads play and then we'll watch it.
And I wrote this in the middle of the pandemic, but released it recently. Finally recorded it.
We'll
But
listen to I like the end of the first verse into the hook is hot. Oh, I turned off.
yeah, we can't hear it here. I think you're the only one hearing it.
You can hear it?
Yeah, I'm not hearing it. I think you're the only one hearing it.
Oh. All right, try this. You hear now? You hear now?
No,
Hmm.
it's okay. Don't worry about it. People can look it up.
All right, sorry about that. I should have tested it beforehand. I don't know why it wouldn't be playing. Usually when I play stuff, it plays through. Because
It might play on the video recording. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, this is Kozi. Go check him out, Kozi19. I just found him and subscribed to him. I also played your song on my Instagram, so definitely go. You can go follow me on Instagram too. Actually, I have it in my thing, but
Yeah, it's
at
an
Teaching
on
Liberty.
all platforms. Spotify, just write Kozi19 and stream my songs for free. iTunes, you can download it, 99 cents. But yeah, just stream my music, people. Send it.
Yeah. All
Uh,
right. And so this is going to bring us into well, that's kind of like the culture side, right? Because I know you rap a lot about like the pandemic and politics and kind of like those liberty based ideas. So we have to have the music. That's a part of culture, definitely too. So the last one I wanted to talk about is Project Veritas. So
mhm.
again, speaking of, you need to have all different sorts of people on all different fronts. The media is one where we obviously have a huge problem. There's a lot of independent people like, right here and that do good work, but of course things are still dominated by, the corporate legacy media. So when you have somebody like Project Veritas who has really broken through and gets millions and tens of millions of views and they're kind of, you know, most common folk at least know of who they are. It's a big deal. I don't know. What's your take on Project Veritas?
Yeah, I think they do great work. The fact that they're getting it out there, right? Some of the things were a little cheesy sometimes, like a few videos that they sent out. But I think this one was powerful, especially the Pfizer stuff that
Wait,
came
okay,
out.
you're talking about the most recent one?
The most recent ones they were good, and I think Pfizer panicked. I think the system panicked, and from what I heard, rumors, and I don't know the whole story. I didn't follow up because I just kind of heard rumors. You probably know more than I do about this. I'll let you cover it, but like, I know that they want to take him down. Basically, they want to take him off and basically fire him.
Yeah, I think that they had done something about big pharma before. They had a couple whistleblowers who came through. So like this isn't their first video that's directed at big pharma.
No, it's not. But I think this was powerful because they got the actual one of the directors to like admit
Yeah.
things about like.
Be a director though, so I actually have a video coming out on this too,
Mhm,
but then I got caught up doing the prayer vigil video.
mhm.
So it's gonna come out next week, and now I need to update it because I was doing it before this latest revelation, which we're gonna get into about James O'Keefe being on unpaid leave, and so you're suggesting that this is Pfizer coming at them, but I don't know, like, I really don't think that guy was super high up, like, I think that he, like, was kind of like, middle management, he is probably in the room for these conversations. Um, I'm gonna add
Well,
a little bit
he
more
was.
context on what some of those things mean. I don't know, I think that I don't think it needs to be this video, right? I don't think that any of those things that could have happened really could have been immediately this video. I think that at least the way that things are working out, it seems like this has been kind of in the making at least for a little while. So I don't know about the connections to this video specifically about the Pfizer stuff and him getting on unpaid leave.
Yeah, I
But
think it was built up to it, and the fact that they've grown, right, exponentially since that time, and now this was like the peak of like, hey, we got to stop this guy, we got to shut him up. Basically, that's possible, of
all
what
right.
happened.
Well, we're gonna read an article, so we'll see if there's anything.
Go for it.
I'm open to it as always, which is exactly why I wanted to actually show this before we get into it, which is Elon Musk. He tweeted out, "Some of the smartest people I know actively believe the press." Amazing. Which I quote tweeted. I wonder if my own quote tweet will come at the top. Oh no, but I bet if I go to my page, it's the last thing I tweeted. To which I quoted, "Oh dang, I did it wrong. Nobody even liked it. This is why, because I didn't even do it right." So it should say some of the smartest people I know actively believe Elon Musk. Amazing. I need to retweet that, but I also think because I was talking smack about him, the algorithm probably downrated it. But yeah. So my point here is that you should always question your bias. I really can't stand the way that people who rail on legacy media and anybody on the left, and now they're out here simping hard for Elon Musk. Like, I do not trust that guy. We might have some interests that align temporarily, but I think in the long term we have far different worldviews and understanding of what a democracy that represents people, in a federalist form is. And then similarly, even though we trust Project Veritas, I wouldn't say trust. I would say generally like the content they put out and also think that those methods are okay, right? I think it's okay to do that type of journalism. I know a lot of people think it's like what is it? Like
Like unprofessional.
not yeah, like unprofessional, like immoral, like you're lying, you're doing secret videos. They think it's not, but I think it's fair, because they do those things too. They pretend they don't, right? They pretend they don't, but they do those things too.
I'm
Um,
all
but I think that we should also question, right? We should also question about, how much do we believe him? What aren't they showing us? They don't show us the full videos. Again, these
Mhm.
are all questions I'm definitely going to be asking in the video I put out next week. But let's go ahead and get into this article about what's going down here with James O'Keefe on unpaid leave. Have you ever seen him in person?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I went to an event that they hosted out here. It was like a Greenwich Patriots event, and it was in Mamaroneck. He
Wow.
actually that's where their headquarters is. I'm pretty sure it's in
Wow.
Mamaroneck. He lives right around here
That's pretty cool.
um in Westchester. Uh-oh, it's telling me now that I don't have access. Let's see if I can get it on the private tab. All right, looks good. So we have James O'Keefe on paid leave. At least he's still getting paid. I think he gets paid pretty well, as he should probably, right?
Hmm.
So James O'Keefe, the founder and chairman of Project Veritas. I know that's so crazy how you can be put on paid leave from your own. Like people be like, all right, like you stepping out of line, even though you started it and you're like the
They
chairman
have
of it.
so they have board members
I
basically.
know, but that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So he's taken paid leave from the conservative nonprofit media organization. I think it's weird that they call it conservative. I don't find him to be very conservative, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know too much about his background.
Yeah, I mean, he runs again, like just like I more often run with the conservative crowd, quote unquote, but that's because like the other side won't have me. I don't consider myself conservative. Um, anyways, its board considers whether to remove him from his leadership position, according to current and former employees of the organization. An internal message sent to Project Veritas employees by the organization's executive director, Daniel Strack, said that O'Keefe would be taking a few weeks of well-deserved PTO. An image of the message was shared by a source familiar with the organization's internal operations, and its authenticity was confirmed by a current employee. When reached for comment on his personal cell phone, O'Keefe said nothing in response and did not respond to follow-up calls and text messages. Excuse me. Through a Project Veritas spokesman, Strack later released a statement on behalf of the organization. Like all newsrooms, at this stage, the Project Veritas board of directors and management are constantly evaluating what path or what the best path forward is for the organization. There we go. So basically they didn't say anything. It did not directly address questions about O'Keefe's employment status. There are 65 plus employees at Project Veritas dedicated to continuing the mission to expose dishonesty, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in both public and private institutions. Oh, this is a quote. So this is what they said. Like they're going to keep doing the work, basically.
So they didn't take him out. He just went on paid leave, basically.
Yeah, for now.
And that was the latest article that you found?
Is it the latest article?
Well,
It's
when
from
did he
February.
post up?
It's from February 8th. It's not the
Okay.
latest.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't follow this story. I wasn't
Right.
like I was
But
just
it does go a little bit further into some other things that are going on. So let's keep reading then. Interesting story. Let's get to the what do they call it? The T. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger.
So basically people are just assuming this is what happened. Like they were just assuming that he was let go or
They have sources. Apparently they have confirmed sources. A meeting of the Project Veritas board is scheduled for Friday, so that means that this happened yesterday, when O'Keefe's potential removal is set to be discussed. So maybe there has been things. This maybe isn't the updated, but they're saying that currently there's a divide between a group of employees who are perceived to be loyal to O'Keefe, including his communication advisor, R.C. Maxwell, and the board, which has been dissatisfied with what it perceives as O'Keefe's mismanagement. All right. So it seems kind of like classic workplace kind of things. You know, some people like the boss, some people don't like the boss, and some of those people don't like him happen to be other high up people. Matthew Termond, a conservative journalist who serves on Project Veritas board, said he was about to walk into a meeting and could not talk when reached on his cell phone on Wednesday. When asked specifically if O'Keefe was being ousted, he replied, "I just said I was walking into a meeting and this is not the appropriate time. What don't you understand about that?" He did not understand. He did not respond to subsequent phone calls. Two other board members did not respond to a phone message. Oh, so this guy got a bunch of numbers here. As rumor of O'Keefe's potential ouster circulated among his friends and enemies on Wednesday, his usual pugnacious Twitter and Instagram accounts were silent. Project Veritas continued to promote the organization's latest stings, including a series of hidden camera videos, talks about the Pfizer thing, the Biden diary, and then this is one video in a series culminated with a physical altercation between O'Keefe and the Pfizer employee. In another video he posted in late January, O'Keefe accosted an investigative reporter for the New York Times, Adam Goldman, whose byline has appeared on multiple stories. He said, "I'm an investigative reporter." This is what O'Keefe said to him. You're a government stooge. You're a punk. You're a Fed boy." That's kind of funny. I don't know. It kind of seems a little bit like cliche, though, to call somebody those things.
Yeah.
Even as O'Keefe, okay, this is just more about different things that he's done. Anyway, so that's from this story. Is there more latest from Friday? Perhaps, but again, I think it's probably more about the angling. Like that's what I've heard is more about this angling of people who are loyal to O'Keefe versus people who are trying to get him out. They think that he's kind of like an asshole, I guess. Like that's what I also read somewhere, that he's just like rude to people. He's like an asshole. I don't know. Like that's not really That's not really the vibe I got. Obviously, I saw him in public where I was, but he seemed like very charming, and he was definitely all about the business, you know what I mean? And like he definitely like would say like do this or do that, and like people would like jump and like do that thing that he said. So I can definitely see like he, you know, probably that's another level behind the scenes. But I also know people who've hung out with him in, you know, out and about, like not in work situations, this and that, and they said that he was nice. So anyways, it's interesting. We'll see where it goes. I think that whether it's the Pfizer thing directly, there's definitely people who are coming, you know, they're coming for the people who are revealing the truth.
For sure.
They're coming for
Or
you,
or
Kozi.
or they're coming for people who refuse. You refuse a shot, little teacher. Well, we're gonna send
I
your
know I'm
name
on
to the
the FBI
FBI.
list. I
Your
mean,
FBI.
I'm probably on it like a bunch of times. I'm probably on like, okay, the parent who speaks out at the school board meeting. All right, the teacher who refuses the COVID vaccine. Oh, the mom who shows up at the restaurant with her
Yeah.
kid.
I don't even want to know like how many lists I'm probably on. Like in terms of, if you think about all the songs too, like I'm unvaccinated. Like
Yeah.
so who knows? But no, who knows? I don't care. We know we're good people. We know we are for peace. We know that we just want to be free, and we want to be respectful. We want people to respect us, and we want to respect people back. Just don't step on our toes. That's all we're saying. Do not.
Right. Yeah, I think that I mean, again, I was looking at what goes on at the state level, and there's just so many laws and rules, and government is just so big.
Listen,
I would
they
love
want
it
to
if
paint
we
us.
could pare back.
They want to paint us as extremists, but we're not extreme by any means, right? It's not extreme to just
Oh, no, I disagree. I
yeah,
think it is radical to believe in liberty.
yeah.
It is
But
radical to believe in
to
liberty.
who?
I mean, just like it is radical to say that I, you know, am an individual and I am autonomous and I am the ruler of myself. That's a super radical statement, you
Depends on
know,
who you're. Yeah, it
and to
depends
have
on
to
who's
uphold
viewing that.
it and to live by that
Well,
because
well,
the
I'm just trying to
norm
make it simple, right? I'm just saying, like, listen, it's not too
I
much
know
to
what you're
ask.
saying. I know what you're saying is like it's, you know, live and let live. It seems reasonable, but I really think for that to become a thing, you
Mm.
have to be radical. You have to live like erratically, like integrity, like it's just
Possibly, it depends what you mean, right? Like, if I'm just saying, listen, I just want to the right to refuse a medical intervention, that's not a radical thing. It's like, no, I don't want tomatoes on my sandwich. You know what I mean? It's like, why is that so hard? Like I just want clean water to drink. I don't want fluoride in my tap water. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that's not extreme, but like the people, I think that they're extreme for trying to push this stuff on us. The fact that they're going out of their way to inject every single person that anything that breathes, basically, uh, that's extreme to me.
Cozy,
Or
it's for
to
your health and safety.
yeah,
Shut up.
or listen, put on a mask. I
Stop.
think that's
Put
extreme
up
behavior to force us to wear a freaking
that.
muzzle. Like
No,
that's
I agree,
extreme.
I agree, I agree.
We're not
That is definitely,
extremists.
like, extreme on its face, like, literally on its face, it is extreme. But listen, I appreciate you coming here tonight. I try again, like I really try to focus on like big news stories of the week. I
Mhm.
legitimately think that most of the big news stories of the week were kind of medical freedom based stories. Even that last James O'KEefe, the Project Veritas story, has that medical freedom flair to it because the latest story they did was the Pfizer story, and they've broken other stories on that. So you know, we just got to keep doing the work. If you guys don't already follow Kozi, make sure you follow him over on Instagram. He's also at cozywellness.com. I believe I actually got it right here. We could show that
It's actually
cozywellness.com.
there's an S, so
Oh,
Kosis
I messed
Wellness.
it. I
But
most
it's okay. But just for you guys know, KOZIS, Kosis Wellness. But
okay,
yeah, you could find me on Instagram and my website.
exactly.
You'll find me.
And he has awesome soaps that smell so good. So like they are good in the shower on your body, but while you're kind of just like waiting to use them, when you have your extras, they smell amazing in your bathroom. So yes, go grab some soaps, support medical freedom, keep living free. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, go follow me. And I think the most important thing is to stay beautiful and stay free.
I agree.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you next time. We're here every Saturday night, and I'm dropping a video every week. So check back soon.